When the Yulari Dominion first encountered humanity, they saw a fragile species barely worthy of the stars. No claws, no natural armor, soft flesh, inefficient respiration, brittle bones, weak by every measurable standard. The Dominion was locked in a centuries-long war with the Raktal hegemony, a brutal insectoid race that devoured worlds. So, when humans offered to assist, the Yulari diplomats exchanged condescending glances. They thought we were volunteering for extinction. Still, the Dominion accepted humanity's offer. They needed bodies on the line. The humans would serve as auxiliary troops, relegated to logistics, communication, and low-risk defense duties. "Let them handle the soft tasks," the Yulari General Voro sneered. "They will not last a day at the front." He was wrong, very wrong. The 1st Human Battalion deployed to the contested moon of Harvan III. The air was toxic, gravity-heavy, terrain fractured by acid storms. The Yulari barely survived the landing, yet the humans adapted within hours. They wore their own gear, rugged and simple compared to Dominion tech. They built shelters from broken dropships, filtered acid rain into drinkable water, and patched wounds with materials the Yulari considered waste. When a Raktal swarm breached the perimeter, the humans didn't retreat. They charged. The Yulari watched in disbelief as the small, fragile-looking bipeds unleashed fire and fury from makeshift trenches. Their screams, their defiance. It was like watching lightning strike the battlefield. They didn't move like soldiers trained to survive. They moved like people who'd already accepted death but refused to die quietly. When dawn came, the swarm was gone. Half the human unit had fallen, but they held the line. Harvan III was still theirs. General Voro visited the survivors himself. "You fought as if your lives were meaningless," he said. Captain Elaine Torres, her arm wrapped in a torn cloth, stared him down. "Our lives have meaning because we fight," she replied. "Yours end when you stop." That line spread through the ranks like wildfire. Weeks passed. Humans were reassigned, from auxiliaries to frontline assault. Every commander who served beside them told the same story. Humans didn't just follow orders, they inspired others. Where the Yulari were cautious and calculating, humans were chaotic and creative. They used debris as traps, plasma cores as bombs, and even hacked Raktal communication systems using nothing but salvaged gear. One alien soldier said later, "A human will lose an arm, tear their uniform into a tourniquet, and keep fighting while yelling orders." And the strangest thing? The more brutal the battle, the louder they laughed. Some even sang. It terrified their enemies and amazed their allies. Months later, the war reached the planet Varnick Prime, the hegemony's key fortress. The Dominion High Command hesitated to strike. The defenses were impenetrable. Every simulation predicted catastrophic losses. Then the humans volunteered. "Give us a window," said Major Torres, now leading an interspecies battalion. "Just get us through the atmosphere. We'll do the rest." Voro scoffed. "You'll die there." "Then we'll die trying. That's what soldiers do." The Dominion finally agreed. The plan was madness, a direct drop from orbit, with human-led mixed units storming the fortress gates before the Raktal could deploy heavy artillery. They dropped through fire, through debris, through clouds of acid and plasma. The Yulari ships monitoring the descent assumed every pod had been destroyed. But then, a human transmission cut through the static. "Ground secured. Commence orbital bombardment on our mark." The signal was followed by explosions across the surface. Not human pods, but Raktal strongholds erupting in chain reactions. The humans had carried nuclear charges with them. When the smoke cleared, Varnick Prime's command spire was in ruins. The Dominion fleet descended to find the human-led battalion still standing among the wreckage, their banner planted in the dust. They had done the impossible. Again. After the war, the Yulari Senate convened to discuss formal integration of humanity into the Dominion's military command. General Voro, once their harshest critic, stood before the chamber. He was no longer sneering. "When we first met humans," he said, "we saw weakness, a biological vulnerability, a lack of natural weapons, frailty. What we failed to see was their true strength." He turned, gesturing to the holofeed showing human medics tending to Yalari soldiers. "They fight, not because they expect to win, but because surrender is not in their nature. Pain, fear, and loss only harden them." He paused, voice low. "We called them fragile. We were wrong. Their resilience is not of the body, it's of the spirit." From that day onward, human units were no longer auxiliaries. They were commanders, tacticians, and teachers. Every species in the Dominion learned from them. How to endure, how to adapt, how to fight with heart. And whenever a young alien recruit questioned the value of their human instructors, veterans would simply say, "Watch them in battle. Then tell me who the weak ones are." Moral: strength isn't about claws, armor, or size. It's about courage, the will to keep fighting when every reason says stop,